Most federal riding boundaries haven't radically changed, but if you live in South Edmonton or here in the Northwest, there are some recent changes you should know about. They might affect how you vote and maybe even who wins. Let's start with why boundaries changed in the first place. Every 10 years, independent commissions review boundaries in each province and may determine new ones. Each commission has a judge, plus 2 other members appointed by the Speaker of the House of Commons. In Alberta's case, a retired political science professor and an electoral administration expert. They aim for boundaries with equal population numbers, but they also consider other social and geographic factors, like putting St. Albert in a riding with other Francophone communities, or respecting previous riding boundaries. But more on that later. Edmonton has a few ridings with new names. Edmonton Northwest includes a big chunk of what used to be in the St. Albert-Edmonton riding. So a lot of Edmontonians previously represented by Conservative Michael Cooper could soon have a new MP. The other big change in Edmonton is in the south. Gone is the Edmonton Mill Woods riding. Now we have 2 ridings, Edmonton Gateway and Edmonton Southeast, which extend much further south. Why do this? Well, there's been significant population growth in the south side of the city. The commission reconfigured the Edmonton-Wetaskiwin riding and said that by splitting up South Edmonton into 3 different ridings, that would help shoulder future growth in this area. Now let's take a look at what's happened outside the city. St. Albert is now part of a more rural riding called St. Albert-Sturgeon River. West of Edmonton, Spruce Grove and Stony Plain now lie in the Parkland riding. The commission tried to move Fort Saskatchewan to a different riding and pair Sherwood Park with Beaumont, but listened to pushback from communities and reinstated the Sherwood Park-Fort Saskatchewan riding. Even though that means this riding now has a lot more people than other ridings do. Explore the new map and you'll see lots of ridings have changed in minor ways. The easiest way to find your riding is by going to elections.ca and entering your postal code. So, how might these changes affect the results in this election? Let's start with the big picture and then zoom in on Edmonton. Some analysts think the changes will most benefit the Conservatives. After all, Alberta's getting 3 of the 5 new ridings in Canada, and Albertans tend to vote Conservative. But this political science professor says the new boundaries are only part of the equation.
There's also the backdrop of the overhang of Mr. Trump and that factor. Moreover, Edmonton and most of Alberta, we've seen an increase in population. People have moved here with the different voting backgrounds. I think that is the unknown factor in many of these ridings.
What we do know is how people voted last time. If we transpose results from the 2021 election onto the new ridings, here's how that would have played out in Edmonton. The 2 newly named ridings, Edmonton Northwest and Edmonton Southeast, plus Edmonton Centre, would have all gone blue, and the NDP would have won Edmonton Griesbach and Edmonton Strathcona. But with the exception of Edmonton Northwest, the data shows small winning margins in those ridings. Mensa says voters in new ridings have some work to do.
These new ridings are open. It's an open contest. Nobody's the incumbent, and therefore the premium is on people to get to know who is running and make a calculation in terms of who deserves their support.
The nomination process closes on April 7th, and the full list of candidates will be available 2 days later. Madeline Cummings, CBC News, Edmonton.